Well, it's my honor to introduce a leader whose life and work embody vision, resilience, and purpose. Jackie Duty began her career right here in our region at the Telegraph in Alton, where she quickly developed a deep understanding of marketing and advertising. She went on to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, where she managed a $22 million division during the toughest time in newspaper history. Her journey continued across multiple media platforms, including contributing to the growth of stltoday.com. She later led a digital strategy across 2 radio properties with 11 radio stations in St. Louis, managing a team of more than 50 sales professionals, and then she moved on to Fox 2. I forgive her for that, but you gotta do what you gotta do. With a passion for building and growing organizations, Jackie launched her own marketing agency, working with communities in major initiatives across the region, including projects like the Great River Race in Kirkwood, while also serving on the board of directors for Kirkwood-De Pere Chamber of Commerce. She has served on multiple boards over the years, including Alton Main Street and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of St. Louis. But beyond her professional success, Jackie's story is one of purpose. She is a first-generation Chilean American, an author, an artist, and a nonprofit leader who has dedicated her life to storytelling, service, and community impact, and a 4-time best-selling author, a 3-time #1 international best-selling author in 7 countries. She has built and sold multiple companies, including the founding, building, and sale of the Collinsville Daily News. And today, we are blessed to have her leading with strategic vision and deep compassion, building partnerships, expanding outreach, and creating a place of dignity, education, and hope for women and families. Please join me in welcoming Executive Director Jackie Duty.
Wow. Thank you. It is kind of hard to see up here. But I can see some of your faces, and I just want to say thank you. I don't take it lightly that you've given us your time here tonight. Time is your most valuable asset. So thank you for investing that tonight. From all of us at Vitality, we want to say thank you for your love, for your continued support. And I have to take time to say thank you to my wonderful husband, Steve. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary in November. It hasn't been easy. I'm sure anyone that's been married more than a year will tell you that, right? But I couldn't do this without you, without your prayers, without staying beside me and helping me laugh when life gets hard and I get crazy. My boys, Tyler and Trevor, they were just here. They are growing into amazing young men. And you're going to see them working the cameras tonight. Here's a shameless mom plug. Forgive me for this, but Tyler, he's building a great new company, video editing. I'm so proud of him. He just won a big competition with SBDC on this entrepreneurial program. He's building an app. I can tell you nothing about it. I don't understand it at all. I just know it looks really cool and it sounds awesome. So check it out. To my youngest, he just graduated high school. He's starting a new career at Worldwide Technology. I am so proud of my boys and what they're doing. My parents, my mother-in-law, my grandma, my brothers and sisters, without my tribe, right? I couldn't be here today. So for that, thank you guys. I love you so much. I've had several people come up to me and they've said, you know, people have questions. Who is this new director? We want to know about her. And I used to never want to share my story. But, you know, I have no problem talking. I promise you're not going to regret giving me the microphone tonight, although I've been told that's been a problem in the past. I promise I will get you all out of here before midnight. I'd like to manage expectations. But when I was younger, my family said I didn't talk at all. And then I was 5 and I said a sentence, and then I never stopped talking. So I'm going to try to manage it tonight. But I want to take time just to share my story. So I'd like for your permission, if it's okay, can I just take a few minutes tonight and share that? Yeah? Okay. If you're ready, can I hear you say, I'm ready? All right. We got 400 people in the room. I want a little bit more energy. Can I get a woo woo? All right. This is going to be fun. So I promise I'm not going to ask you to get up and dance. Although, Amy, where's Amy? There will be a dance competition in the office on Monday. You're all invited. I'll bring the donuts. But last April I got a phone call from Kara, and she was asking me to go to lunch. See, she had found out that I had just sold my newspaper. And she said that she felt like I was supposed to take this role. I was like, no, I don't think so. I was like, I don't think that's God. Let's pray about this. And the truth is, I have so much respect for doctors and nurses. This is something I would have never picked. I'm the kind of person that if I see somebody that skins their knee or breaks a bone, I'm probably going to throw up on them. So I would have never picked medical. But it's crazy how God will bring you down a path. And he'll take you through a journey. And you don't even realize in the moment that as you're going through, what you're getting is training that's going to prepare you for the next steps. And there are days that this job is really hard. I don't know if, had I known what I was getting into, I don't know if I would have said yes. But on those days, I have to stop, right? Like I have to do a checkup from the neck up. And when I'm feeling down, I look up, and then I'll finish the race, and when I'm done, I'm going up. Amen? And see, this isn't how I imagined my life so many years ago. I was blessed to have two incredibly kind, loving parents. I've talked with many of you about how, my past, my grandmother was a refugee out of Santiago, Chile. See, she was working at the ambassador's office, and there was a coup. And a dictator was going to take over, and she was told that she had access to too much information. And if she didn't get out of the country that night, she was going to end up in the stadium the next day. So she fled. She finds her way. She lays down everything, leaves everything she knows, finds her way, finds herself as a maid in Beverly Hills. Meets Jerry. Jerry says, I'll go rescue your kids. He brings her to a small town in the Midwest called Alton, Illinois. And they go to rescue my grandma's children. They were able to get out the four youngest, and my mother and her sister were left behind. It took them about 3 more years to get their visa to be able to come to this country. And my mom meets my dad at a bowling alley in East Alton. He falls in love right away. Took her a little bit more time because she didn't speak English. But, it's an incredible story. We'll go into more details. I'll do a podcast on it, and you'll have to check it out. But, it's so incredible because she fell in love, and she lays down everything. Her inheritance, she was excommunicated, to come to this country. And she said, I came here, and I found freedom, and I found love, and I found Jesus, and that's all I ever needed. And, yeah. See, my father worked so hard for 25 years at Laclede Steel to build a life for his family. Humble circumstances, but I always grew up feeling so loved. My parents were so incredible, and they raised me in church. And I was at church camp when I was 11, and I got saved. But, it was that week that I had actually had a friend that went to school with me at Lovejoy Elementary, and she had drowned that week at a lake in Gordon Moore Park. And you never know when you grow up how those things will affect you later in life. And when I hit 12, life hit hard, right? Things happen. And I found myself running away from God for many years. I'm so thankful social media wasn't a thing at that time. The last thing I need is a record of the bad decisions I made as a teenager. I don't know if anyone else can, experience that. But when I was 18, I made a decision that I was going to move to New York, and I was going to be rich and famous. That was my plan for my life. I laugh now when I talk about my plans. God's funny. But see, I think about that, and if I had followed my plans for my life, I would have been alone in New York on September 11th. But it was about a week before my 19th birthday that I found out I was pregnant. I found out because I was actually in a biology class in this building, and I was getting ready to dissect a sheep brain. And first morning I got morning sickness. I was like, I will never go in the medical field. And, but I showed no signs of being pregnant. I was actually losing weight because I had a health problem. I was down to about 100 pounds, and I took this test that told me I was pregnant. A week later, 3:23 in the morning on my 19th birthday, I woke up in a pool of blood. And it wasn't just blood. I can remember screaming, and Steve was in shock. My mom came running in, and she saw the mess, and she said, you've lost the baby. Let's go to the emergency room. See, they say if you take an event and you tie it to an emotion, it burns in that person's memory. And I can tell you everything about that emergency room that morning. I can tell you about the doctor. He was balding. He had a ring of hair. I can tell you about the nurse and her really bad breath as she came up and she told me, you've lost one. You'll probably lose the other. Go home and put up your feet and let us know when it happens. I was in shock. Other? There were two? That morning, we left the emergency room. My mom takes me to breakfast to have funny face pancakes at the IHOP in Wood River. And our waitress came up, and she says a bunch of things. Now, I can't tell you what she said, but I can remember how she made me feel. And that morning, her words sparked hope that it was going to be okay. So I don't want anyone to take for granted your jobs and the things you do. You may feel like it doesn't matter. You may feel like you're not changing the world setting the world on fire. But I promise you, every one of you have an opportunity to have an impact in somebody's life through the words that you speak. And you never know the seeds of hope that you can plant into someone's heart. See, that day, that waitress sparked just hope. And there was a small part of me that began to believe that I might have an okay future. Because if there's hope in the present, there's power for the future. And later that day, I'm back at the hospital and I'm getting my very first ultrasound. That was the first time I saw my son's heartbeat. And it changed everything. The doctor looked closely at the ultrasound and he said, you're 4.5 months. How did you not know? It was a boy, and he was showing every sign of having Down syndrome. Now I'm really terrified. How do I do this? Again, my thoughts went to abortion. I found myself sitting at that lake where my friend had drowned so many years before. My mom, her words rang out, don't kill my grandbaby. I will adopt him. I will raise him as my own. Please don't kill my grandbaby. I sat at that lake with so many voices running through my head. I think Lanisha was talking about it, right? Devil angel whispering. A lot of voices whispering. Failure. Loser. You've blown it. You'll never step into your purpose. End it now. See, I almost made a really bad decision that day. And had I made that decision, I would not be standing here today with hope or peace. My eternity would have looked very different. But something happened. It was nothing magical. The clouds didn't part. The earth didn't shake. It was a still, small voice that said, you have purpose. Your son has purpose. Pick up your mat and walk. I stood up very slowly and walked to my car. Still not having a clue what I was going to do, but I had made a choice to keep moving forward. The next week, I'm back in church. Sweet little old ladies prayed for me and for my unborn baby. It was a very simple prayer. The following week, I'm in Missouri Baptist, and I'm having a doctor come in. The expert was coming in to tell me what I need to do with my baby that was showing all the signs for Down syndrome. And he looked very closely, and he walked out. He came back with 3 friends, 3 other experts that looked at the ultrasound, and they walked out and they left me there for half an hour. Longest half hour of my life. They came back in and they said, we don't know what those guys in Alton saw. This baby's perfectly healthy. Go home and put up your feet. You're going to have a good pregnancy. See, Steve and I were married then in November. I gave birth to a very healthy baby boy in March of 2001. Now, I wish I could tell you that it got easier. It didn't. Life can be really hard. Postpartum depression is a real thing. This is a picture of me at 19 years old. A lot of people look at that and they see a very angry person. Now, the crazy thing is I found this picture in my journal. In 2016, I should go back, we had a house fire. Lost everything in a day. And I remember going back into that house, just digging through piles of books that were incinerated because I had to find my journal. I found it buried at the bottom of a pile, singed, but almost readable. And in the back of my journal was this picture. It's one of the only pictures I have from my past. It's obviously one I don't post on social media. You're not going to see this on Facebook tomorrow. But I look at that picture, and some see anger. I see terror. I had no idea what I was doing. Very frightened. My mom walked in. She put the baby in my hands and said, you're not connecting with him. She put him in my arms and took this picture. And then she said, look at your son. And I looked down in his eyes. And he looked up at me and he giggled. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the moment I became a mother. I think it's important to share that because not everybody's experience is the same. And there are so many women that come through our doors with different experiences. And it's so important that they all know that no matter where they are, they will be loved. See, I didn't know Arms of Love existed at the time. I was able to get on WIC. Thankfully, WIC helped me for a season. Until I was able to get a great new job working at the Telegraph. I got a huge pay raise at $8 an hour. I was so excited. That was a big deal. Man, I had a desk and everything. It was great. I thought, this is where I'm going to retire. I found stability in an industry that's never going to change. Yeah. It's good times. But I didn't know that that would be the start of a career that would just launch, a trajectory of 20 years in media. You know, I began to think crazy thoughts and dream big dreams and think someday I'm going to own my own newspaper. And people are like, man, you're crazy. That'll never happen. You know, you're dreaming too big. But God, never underestimate the power of a woman who begins to understand that God is so much bigger than the world's no. And how through him, anything is possible. So today, I am so blessed to be surrounded by these incredible young men. This is my family. Pretty good looking guys, aren't they? They're still single. Just FYI. But God has a plan and a purpose for their lives. He has a plan and a purpose for the lives of every woman that walks through our doors. They just need to know that there's hope. So tonight, you can be a deliverer of hope. If everyone in this room were willing to invest one ultrasound a month, we would hit the goal that we need to hit to do the things that we need to do in the next year. So we are asking you to lock arms with us. And while there are those that are out there doing incredible work at a state and national level, we are on the ground right here in your community. We are fighting for the lives of every woman in the community that needs to hear a message of hope for a brighter future. They need to know that it's going to be okay. They need to know that they have a purpose, and they need to know that their child has a purpose. So you're going to notice on your table there's an envelope. And you're also going to notice on your table there is a jar. Now, we wanted to shower you with kisses. Listen, if I have an excuse to hand out chocolate, I'm going to do it. And this was actually the idea of Gail and Sue and just some incredible things. The work you guys have done is phenomenal. Thank you to the team. But on the bottle, you're going to see a name by design. That name represents somebody. Someone, a future patient, someone in our community, this is your assignment for the year. We want you to pray for the name on that jar. And then we're going to ask for your help in other areas. We're introducing new programs that are going to support, that it's going to grow our support base. 3 times a year, we'll do the t-shirt fundraiser. You heard a lot of this, Dale talking earlier. If you like coffee, buy it through 7 weeks. 15% goes right back into our ministry. We are launching the President's Circle. Now, this is an investment of $5,000 a year. We're only offering 25 spots for you to be in the President's Circle. We're going to introduce the 1990, because we were founded in 1994. We are introducing the 1994 Society that's $1,994 a year. We're only going to allow 50 people in that society. You can look at the envelopes as you begin to pass them around your tables. Scan the QR code to go into our giving portal. We have options at $50, $100, $250, or $500 a month. But $60 a month is what it takes for us to provide one ultrasound. So if you were to invest $60 and commit once a month, you have that opportunity to save a life, because that ultrasound matters. We have seen it time and time again. When a woman is exposed to the child's heartbeat, things change. And in order to get us closer to our goal, we've just had a donor tonight that is offering to match the next $7,200 for dollar on anyone committing to this level of the one ultrasound a month. So maybe you couldn't afford $60 a month. Maybe you could pledge $30 a month. They're going to match your 30, up to a total of 60 monthly. So I'm going to ask all of you to prayerfully consider this as I invite my pastor, Darren Carsons, to come up and to pray over this time as we just prayerfully consider what God's putting on your heart. And then we're going to send you on your way well before midnight. And again, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for giving us your time tonight. We do not take it for granted. I know time is your most valuable asset. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for your continued support as we move forward for impacting this community for good.
Thank you for the moments, thank you for the time, for the love you give and the mountains we climb. Every single heartbeat, every single day, just wanna say thank you in every way. Thank you for the moments.